Once we accept our limits, we go beyond them. Albert Einstein. What's going on with you? And it is an amazing day for Yu-Gi-Oh! So amazing because the budget series continues. Last week we threw some serious blows out there, we cracked some skulls, and we even topped our first locals with a $50 budget deck. I know what you're thinking. I was thinking the same, like, whoa, how did we do that? I can tell you it was hard work, it was dedication, it was determination, it was the sum of the sacrifice. I'm not playing. One would say that we have accomplished the ultimate goal. We have taken a really cheap Yu-Gi-Oh deck and topped with it. But as we said in the quote, we're gonna go beyond it. That's right, there's still so much untapped potential for Magical Musket. We are going to take the deck and make it even stronger. That's right, so in our last video, we accumulated quite a bit of money. We came in with $19, but made $11 by winning 3 rounds and then topping the event. And then we also get our $10 for not only our use for Yu-Gi-Oh cards, but also for our item budget. I know that may seem a little bit confusing, but stick with me. It puts the total amount of money that we can spend on Yu-Gi-Oh cards at $40 and also puts our reserve, the stuff that we can use on items, at $28. We starting to stack up money, boss. We getting there. With pretty much 3 tournaments worth of saving money, we're actually able to make some serious upgrades in our deck. But how are we going to do that? A lot of times people just go online and buy cards, but what if I were to tell you that that's not the best way to do it on the budget? The best way is actually using the community that's around you. There are so many people inside of the Yu-Gi-Oh card game that have Yu-Gi-Oh cards that they may not want. And as you should know, in this world, money always talks. So personally, I think that the best course of action for a budget player is to learn how to buy, sell, and trade. I'm going to be doing just that. I'm going to be showing you the ins and outs, the basics of being able to do that in Yu-Gi-Oh! That's right, I like to say that our culture is a little bit different from Pokemon, Magic, and Digimon. There are certain rules that you gotta abide by. If you ain't living by the code, you might just get hoed. So of course, there are going to be some basic fundamental rules that are pretty much followed throughout the entire community. I'm going to be showing you all of the rules for $1 per rule. Can you spare your boy some change? I still need some good cards. So with that being said, I do have some online deals that will tremendously help the Magical Musketeer deck and teach you the etiquette of trading online. You can call it the art of negotiation. Let's jump on in. So buying and trading online peer-to-peer is actually a lot easier than you think. I strongly suggest that you hop into one of your favorite content creators' discords like yours truly to get you started. But before we actually do that, there's a couple of things that I would love for you to know. I strongly suggest that you abide by these rules so your experience can go a lot easier. The first thing is that when you are buying or trading from someone, you obviously want proof that they actually have what they telling you that they have. What they tell you that they have. That was a really weird sentence. Having them take a picture of the cards alongside their name and the current date is what we like to call the timestamp on the online community. This is actually fairly common, and if somebody doesn't put a timestamp on the cards that they're trying to sell or trade to you, that is immediately a red flag. The next thing is if you are buying from someone new or someone that you may not be 100% confident with, you always want to have protection on whatever service that you're using. For example, PayPal is probably the most used app when it comes to buying Yu-Gi-Oh cards from peer-to-peer. The goods and services option is a safety net in case the seller doesn't send you exactly what you guys agreed upon. You always want to dot your P's and Q's. Make sure you can cross-reference this person with other people amongst the group just to make sure that you're not getting into a sketchy situation. And always to remember to have fun. Get in contact with an admin if you aren't 100% sure about the particular situation. They will be able to help you. With that being said, there are a few cards that I want to use to be able to upgrade this Magical Musketeer deck. I'm going to use my Discord server to be able to try to get the cards that I need. My current problem with Magical Musketeers is being able to activate my Musketeer monsters at will, and of course my sideboard needs to be addressed. I think that cards like Foolish Burial Goods would be phenomenal for the strategy. It'll actually allow me to keep my Magical Musketeer dock into my hand because I can activate Foolish Burial Goods under the dock, send the Magical Musketeer card that I want to the graveyard, and then proc Dock's effect to add it to the hand, which is pretty good. I can also activate Foolish Burial Goods under a monster like Magical Musketeer Casper to be able to immediately gain its effect and send a card like Metalfoes Fusion to shuffle back into my deck to draw a card. My side deck needs a complete overhaul. There are some cards that I just don't think are really good inside of my side deck. I'm thinking immediately off the top of my head, hand traps like Artifact LANCEA would be really good, but I need some better going first cards. Cards like Dimensional Barrier would not only trigger my Magical Musketeer monster's effects, they'll also be able to shut my opponent out of a main mechanic. And then there's also Anti-Spell Fragrance, a card that will force my opponent to set all of their cards face down. I can summon Magical Musketeer monsters in that column and then force them to give me effects when they want to use their spell cards. With that being said, I put something called a wants list in my trade section, and it just so happens that Jesse was the person to answer the call. I'm 1000% confident Jesse's gonna give it to me for less than retail. I would be paying around $20 for these particular cards. Let's see what I could haggle Jesse down to. Regardless, we are making a win right here. Yo, what's going on with you, big dog?
What's up, bro?
Last series that I had, the House of Cards series, I wanted to apologize, my good sir. I will send mayo next time on your big cheeseburgers. Is that okay with you?
How about I shoot a counter offer for you?
Okay.
What's your favorite condiment, actually?
I guess mustard.
Like spicy brown mustard, right?
Oh, come on, dog. It's only one mustard to live by.
Okay, all right. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Okay, so your favorite type of mustard and your favorite brand. I'll send you 2 tubs of that for an Ulti First Construct.
Dog, I would do that, but I'm on a budget, so I don't have Ulti First Constructs. But like, if I did, I would. I really would. So like, my counter offer, you like spicy brown mustard, right?
I mean, it's all right, yeah.
Dog, I'm gonna send you a tub of spicy brown mustard, right? It might be opened, all right, and most of the contents might be missing. I'm gonna send you that, and I'm gonna send you like as many packets of mayo from like Arby's or whatever, right? For your Zeus.
Arby's.
Because you know what? I know what people go to Arby's, dog, and it ain't me. You know what Arby's, dog?
No.
You got the meats.
No.
All right. Well, we'll put the Zeus talks on hold. All right. How about that? Those cards that I needed from you.
Yeah. So you actually said that you needed a couple cards. So
yeah.
I'm just gonna list like the cards that you wanted and like cards that I have. Maybe the Foolish Burial Goods and Supers.
Okay. Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect.
Cool. I have Metalfoes Fusion, and it's not much. I'll just give it to you honestly.
Okay.
Whatever.
Appreciate it.
I have a Harpy's Feather Duster, and I only have golds. I don't have the supers from the Egyptian God decks. I have 3D barriers. I have them in Ultra from Dual Devastator if you want those.
Okay. Do you wouldn't happen to have any other ones, would you?
I do actually. I actually got some comments. You want some comments instead?
Yeah, the Ultras may be too rich for my blood. Let's see where this adds up, and then we'll go from there.
All right, that's fair. Then I got 3 anti-spells. I imagine you want them from Dual Devastator, right?
Yeah, the cheapest ones. Or, the cheapest ones you have.
The Ultras from Dual Devastator, the cheapest ones, yeah.
Okay.
And I have 3 Lancias. I only have them in gold rares. I don't have any commons.
Oh, man.
Yeah, a little bit of a gold kick, I know, but like, gotta bling out if you're going.
I gotta blink out. Oh God, I gotta blink out. I gotta blink out on the budget. Blink out the budget. I gotta stop. All right, I guess. Thank you. What do you value in all this at?
I've got if I did this correctly, I'm not counting Metalfoes. I have it in Super though, just not the Ultra. It's the cheapest. I have $20 retail.
Oh, wow. Well, standard for online buying from people peer to peer is 85%. I hope you're not trying to like get me because it's a series and you're like, oh no, I need all that. I need them extra dollars, right?
You know what? I'm gonna do something for you. Since you didn't give me mail last time, I'm upping it to 21.
Sir 21st of the Savage type stuff, right? That's what I'm gonna get.
Exactly. Only for you though. Only for you. This great deal is only for you, bro.
I'm good, dog. This package just might get deported to Britain, dog. It's never gonna get to me. I don't know what to say. Sir 21st of the package. I'll tell you what. It retails for 20, right? 0.85 would be 17. would you be okay with doing 15? Because I mean, let's face it, I'll take the common D barriers too. Are you ever gonna sell? Who's gonna pick up common D barriers, dog? Like gold LANCEAs. Like, work with me, I'll work with you. You know, we'll get something going.
Okay, that's kind of fair. 15. Yeah, you homie. So sure.
Appreciate it, dog. Appreciate you.
Yeah, I want to see those muskets with those blinged out gold LANCEAs, Harpy's Feather Duster. All right.
Yeah, they might not make the final cut. No, I'm just I don't have a choice. I'm on a budget, dog. I gotta play them. So that was actually really fun, and we got the cards that we needed for a steal. Instead of paying $20, something that we would have had to paid had we went to an online store, we actually got 25% off and paid $15. A bonus is that it's all going to be shipped from one person. I really love that about the Yu-Gi-Oh community, that we understand that this card game can get expensive. Let's try to hook each other up. With that being said, let me go ahead and throw this shirt in the washer and then wait until the package gets here so we can, do the video. So 3 days later, did everything change? I know one thing, Sabrina's cleaning. Oh boy, it smells so good. So we actually got Jesse's package right in time for the tournament. Unfortunately, I won't be able to compete, but we can still playtest and show you how powerful this is. I'm really excited to see what these bad puppies can do to make the Magical Musketeer deck even stronger. Let's see if it'll take it up another level. All right, so here we are. Let's go ahead and open this package up, see what my man Jesse got me. I'm trying to open it face down like this for identity purposes. Don't want his address leaked and everything. So let's go ahead and open from the bottom. We are good to go. Boom. All right. So it looks like man Jesse already hit us up with that super rare Metal Foes Fusion. This was an interesting way to ship a bunch of cards. Just put it in the top loader. We are going to get our Metal Foes Fusion. Oh, okay. Secret Foolish Burial Goods. I think that this may have been an accident. I'm gonna go ahead and message him about that because he sent me secret rare Foolish Burial Goods as opposed to super rare. So here we go. Secret rare copies. I'm pretty sure he'll let me use them for this tournament. We got our ultra rare copies of Anti-Spell Fragrance. We got 3 copies of Artifact LANCEA Gold Rare and Harpy's Feather Duster, as well as 3-dimensional barriers. So fortunately enough, those 3 days actually gave me time to figure out what I'm going to take out for what. I'm going to swap out the Harpy's Feather Duster for the Dino Wrestler Panko Traps. That was probably the most painful decision. I'm going to swap out the different dimension grounds for the dimensional barriers. I'm going to swap out Artifact LANCEAs for Skullmeisters. My 2 Night Beam Forbidden Chalice and Upstart for the Foolish Burial package, and 2 Shared Ride for Anti-Spell Fragrance. So with that being said, let's go ahead and make the switch. And now we can add these cards into the deck and I can show you exactly what I play and how I play it. So going over the Magical Musketeer deck, we play 3 copies of Casper, 3 copies of Starfire, 3 copies of Doc. Doc should slot in fairly nicely with 3 copies of Foolish Burial Goods, allowing us to send a Magical Musket card from our deck to the graveyard and trigger Doc's effect. 1 copy of Calamity and 2 copies of Kid Brave. And then for the hand trap, just 3 copies of Parallel Exceeds to finish off the monsters, or 3 copies of Effect Veiler, and to finish off the monsters, 3 copies of Parallel Exceeds. For the spells, we're going to be running the Foolish Burial Goods and the Metal Foes Fusion, 2 copies of Forbidden Chalice, 1 copy of Call by the Grave, 1 Steady Hands, 3 Cross Domination, and of course, 3 copies of Pot of Desires. Then for the traps, we're going to be running 3 copies of Last Stand, 2 copies of Dancing Needle, and 3 copies of Desperado. For that side deck, it's going to be hopefully greatly improved, as we're going to go ahead and play 1 copy of Imperial Order, 2 copies of Cosmic Cyclone, 1 copy of Harpy's Feather Duster, and then following up 3 copies of Gozen Match, 3 copies of Dimensional Barrier, 3 copies of Artifact LANCEA, and then 2 copies of Anti-Spell Fragrance. So you're gonna have to level with me. Not only does the extra deck remain unchanged, I'm actually missing some cards and I have no idea where I put them. I don't think that I'll necessarily need them though. 1 Abyss Dweller, 1 Bamboozling, 1 Dark Rebellion, 1 Utopia Lightning, 1 Utopia, 1 Borreload, 1 Nightmare Unicorn, 1 Nightmare Phoenix, 1 Lena, and 3 copies of Magical Musketeer Max. To be honest, I have the budget, so I'll probably just add on to the extra deck, getting those budget cards that I need, and that should help me tremendously. And that is the Magical Musketeer profile with the upgrades that we have. I'm really excited to see how this deck will do. We're going to be playtesting a few rounds. Hopefully we get some really good rounds just to show you that this deck can still be even stronger and ascend beyond Super Sand, even on a budget. With that being said, I got my backpack. Let's go ahead and get to locals. All right, so there are a total of, looks like about 15 people here, and it's gonna be pretty exciting. Unfortunately, I won't be able to play in the tournament, but we got some pretty cool games going on still, and it's gonna be really, really fun to test out the new deck. Hey, Flaps. Mind if I do round 1 with you, or the first game with you? All right. So my first game of testing the new Magical Muskets is actually against B-Troopers, and boy, B-Troopers are a very, very interesting deck. I think they're one of the better decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! Super slept on and underrated. Ironically, the person that I'm going against name is Jazz, so it kind of matches, as he makes a pretty good board, making that super mega huge beetle that can't be targeted. That's hard to get around. He also has a Fly Sting face down, ready to negate my monster effects, but it's okay. We normal summon the Magical Musketeer monster, proceed to link it off into a Magical Musketeer Max, Chainlink 1 Parallel Exceed, or Chainlink 1 Max, Chainlink 2 Parallel Exceed. He lets that go through. Boy! I mean, to be honest with you, it actually doesn't matter because I do have a Magical Musket Last Stand in hand, so his Fly Sting doesn't mean much. Parallel Exceed summons another Parallel Exceed, and then we use those into our Utopia Lightning. That gets us over his giant B-Trooper Invincible Atlas huge dung beetle monster. From there, I'm actually able to control the tempo. My Magical Musketeers do a lot of things, and getting over strong monsters isn't one of them, but after we do, we can control that tempo. So how do you beat Invincible Atlas when your opponent summons another one and you don't have Parallel Exceed? Game 2 is exactly that. He starts to do the bee's knees thing, summoning a ton and a ton of B-Troopers. He actually has the opportunity to make 2 Invincible Atlas, 2! But instead, he settles for 1. My Magical Musketeer monsters are swift, they shoot their guns, they do their things, but one thing is, untargetable, non-destructible 3,000 attack monsters, yeah, I can't get over that. If Desperado can't beat it, then I can't beat it. We're really starting to notice this really quick, the deficiency of Magical Musketeer, but I'm still able to play Yu-Gi-Oh! I can still summon monsters and buy time. I can attack over the other Magical Musketeers. We get to a point where it's only Invincible Atlas on his board, and yeah, that's all he has. This game literally took way too long. I have the Desperados for answers. I have Magical Musket Last Stance. I even have Dancing Needle to be able to banish targets, but I can't beat the buggy. It all comes down to my small brain finally realizing that Magical Musket Casper can search cards. I use its effect to be able to search a Last Stand. I use it again on a separate turn to be able to search Magical Musketeer, I can't call him McCree, Cowboy, Magical Musketeer Cowboy. Make him 3,200, attack over the Invincible Atlas, and then we're good. Fun fact, I actually activated Desires twice in that game. I had 4 cards left in deck, and we're still able to clutch it out. My second match today, we go against one of my favorite players in Yu-Gi-Oh!, McGowan. So McGowan, if you are watching this, I just want to say you are a chill guy, but your Phantom Knights are a little bit hard to play around. Well, when I don't draw the answers. Game 1, he opens with Tour Guide from the Underworld going first, and I got a quick effect Veiler. No Kagamusha Knight from him, and even if he did, it didn't matter. He's gonna pass his turn on that Kakamusha Knight, and that's when we get things started. Unfortunately, I actually drew Metal Foes Fusion. This is not the business, but it is what it is. Foolish Burial Goods is actually still a really good card. It has so many uses. It can proc my Magical Musketeer's effects. And one thing that I figured out about the card is that you can activate it under your Magical Musketeer dock in Resolve effect, basically being a reinforcement of the army. Dope. Going into game 2, McGowan actually opens, well, I mean, this man opens a fairly good combo. He's gonna wind up on a Rusty Bardish with also a set Wings and a Phantom Knight, or I'm sorry, an Evil Swarm Nightmare. That card would be busted if I did not have an answer to it. My answer to it? Don't summon a monster that can be flipped face down. Breaking his board is going to be a tough challenge because, again, his monsters are just outright stronger than mine. Fortunately enough, Magical Musketeer Desperado allows me to destroy cards on the field, and then eventually I can attack over his resources. That is going to allow us to eventually be able to win the game. Fun fact, this is actually the 3rd time that I've needed the Magical Musketeer trap card that allows me to summon from the hand. The continuous trap card. Yeah, that card's starting to have its uses. So, unfortunately, I wasn't able to get round 3 at the shop, but here we are. I can tell you about round 3 now. I actually get to play against Ethan in Despia. Now, Despia is a really powerful strategy that I think gets even better with Burst of Destiny, and for some reason, I decided to go first in this matchup. I don't know why. I won the dice roll, got excited, went first. The only thing I can do is normal summon Kid Brave in attack position and pass my turn. Go figure, this is not a going first deck. But fortunately, that winds up working out. Ethan starts off his turn by normal summoning Aluber to his side of the field, searching Despia Theater of the Branded. He then activates that Despia Theater of the Branded, but I just so happen to have a Magical Musket Last Stand to negate the activation. He is able to get over the Kid Brave, but I do follow it with Magical Musketeer Starfire into proc its effect, a Dancing Needle to banish his Despia Theater. I special summon Casper, go into the Magical Musketeer Max, and that's when I come across one of the first cards that I don't think I can deal with. Fantastical Dragon Phantasme. That's a good Yu-Gi-Oh card. Maybe I should have bought those. That would have helped this deck tremendously, as it can't beat over monsters easy. Fantastical Dragon is such a problem. I am forced to use Desperado on it to make him use his effect, and then I have to activate Forbidden Chalice just to get over that card. Way too big. I can't allow that card to stay on the field. Now, this does give Ethan a little bit of reprieve. He sees Desperado out of my hand, so in his following turn, he wants to Magical Meltdown. No, we don't do that. Magical Musket Last Stand prevents that Alistair from ever hitting the board. We're able to negate it, and yeah, that's pretty good for us. We do eventually have to get over his Aluber board, a quick Desperado, and then just attacking over the defense position allows us to control the game from there, and then eventually attack for game when he's out of resources. Game 2, he starts off with Alistair the Invoker. Going into his invocation, me thinking that he's going to make a Mechaba, he actually just activates the invocation, and I'm like, okay. He makes a Despia Queritus, which is a card to be feared. It reduces the attack of my already weak monsters that can't punch over any of his monsters to 0. That sucks. My response to his dangerous game-ending board is normal summon Casper, pot up Desires, draw 2 cards past turn. I mean, of course I get the search with Casper, that helps a lot, but that's not helping me break this board right now. This time around, I think Ethan may have learned from his turn 1. He normal summons an Alistair the Invoker number 2, immediately links it off into an Artemis, and activates Invocation, but I got that sexy D-Barrier, boys! D-Barrier actually came in clutch. He won't be able to special summon his invoked Mechaba to his side of the field, a card that can rain terror on me, but his Desperate Queritus is also negated. On top of that, since Invocation could not banish Alistair, he has no way to recur his Invocation back into his deck and Alistair back into his hand. From there, I am forced to use Desperado on his Queritus. He summons Dramaturge to his side of the field, and I'm like, I've been here before. I've been in this exact same position. Fortunately for me, it's going to be close to the exact same outcome. I normal summon my second Casper, turn it into a Magical Musket Starfire, and unfortunately for him, when he tries to use Dramaturge to negate my Magical Musket Max, I have a Cross Dom in hand to negate his Dramaturge. Now, I'm not completely out of the woods yet. Ethan just so happens to top deck a Shaddoll Fusion, but if you guys actually watched my meta counter guide that I did a little while back, you know how to already beat Shaddoll Fusion, so if you haven't watched it, watch it. His Shaddoll Fusion is met with a Desperado targeting my own Magical Musketeer Max. Since there are no monsters special summoned from the extra deck on my side of the field, he has to use monsters from his hand or field to fulfill the conditions of Shaddoll Fusion, which he can't, which means we just flat out win the game from there. He has no more resources left. Those were some incredible matches with a lot of my cards that I bought coming up really big. A huge card that came up was Foolish Burial Goods. Yes, I did draw Metal Foes Fusion way too many times for comfort, but just being able to activate a spell card which will trigger my Magical Musketeer effects was really good. Also, siding in D barriers against the Despia match was huge. I really hope the additions that we made to the deck, plus the additional additions that we will add to the deck, puts Magical Musketeers over the top. As you should already know, we've already reached our breaking point and we're going to go beyond it. And that is all that we have for today. I'm telling you, Magical Musketeers is on the up and up. Can't wait till I actually get to enter another tournament with the deck, as I'm going to blow some minds. I know you're going to be extremely excited for episode 4 when we take the doors off on this deck and make it even stronger. We earned a pretty good amount of money, well, some decent amount of money to add to make the Magical Musketeer deck even more powerful. But until then, I want you to check out my other series. My House of Cards series, where I pay off my house using Yu-Gi-Oh cards, is extremely exciting, and until episode 4 comes around, I hope to see you there.